Okay, with 8 players in 24 months being caught with cocaine in rugby league circles, does rugby league have an issue with cocaine as a recreational drug? And I think it does. I think it does. You've had Zach Hardacre, Adam Walker, Rangi Chase, and Thomas Minns here in the UK. Thomas Minns being the latest, and probably the least high profile of the four. But then you've got to look at the NRL with Ben Barber. He was the first of a litany of these players. He was the first player out of all of these 8 to fail a test or be caught. Jesse Bromwich, Kevin Proctor on a night out, and Sean Kenny-Dowell. So that's 8 players in the space of 24 months. That's one every 3 months has an issue with cocaine, be it caught in a public place with it on his person, but not by the testers, or caught by the testers. Which says to me there's issues with testing, so there's loopholes. So that means we have to look at funding for anti-doping funding and anti-recreational drug testing funding with the UK Anti-Doping Authority. We have to look at their funding and saying, right, every game, every player should be tested then, because clearly there's too many loopholes at the moment. We have to look at the mental health of the rugby players. Now, Thomas Minns, there was a mitigating circumstance. So he didn't get a full 2-year ban. He got 16 months, with some of it backdated because his mother had died days before he was caught. So we have to assume there's a mitigating circumstance there with Thomas Minns. Zach Hardacre, on the other hand, had a litany of off-field and on-field issues of alcohol, assault charges, racist, homophobic slurs. He's now had a drink-drive conviction and driving without licence, tax, or insurance. So he's got his own checkered legal history himself. Sean Kenny-Dowell has had a history of off-field antics as well, drunken assault, domestic violence allegations. Ben Barber just won the grand final with Cronulla, and the next day he's found to have failed a drugs test. Adam Walker and Rangi Chase in the same game on opposite sides fail the test. It's a concern. That says to me that there is a problem. And it says to me we're going back to the 70s and the 80s with the attitudes in the dressing room and by professional players. Yes, it's a very small percentage of professional rugby league players worldwide have been caught out, but they're high profile and they play at the top level. And that is a massive concern for me as a fan, and the sport should be worried. But what the sport are giving out press conferences and press releases, they're just giving the sound bites. There doesn't seem to be any affirmative action. There doesn't seem to be a coherent plan to tackle the issue, and there clearly is mental health issues there. Player welfare is got to be put forward and looked at, because Thomas Minns, there was mitigating circumstances. I'm not condoning what he's done, but you've got to look at the case behind it. As someone who has gone through the drug rehabilitation system, okay, admittedly, I was sort of encouraged to go voluntarily, but the issue is these drug rehabilitation centres, they're not as well advertised as they could be. Down the doctor's surgery and stuff, they need to advertise them more and be more high profile, because there's still that social taboo about admitting that you have a drug or alcohol problem or a depression problem, whatever it may be. That needs those social conventions need to be broken down. The access to rehabilitation and help needs to be more open and free and available. So there's that kind of issue, and that comes down to funding as well. But you've got to look at these high-profile players. They're paid a reasonable amount of money, considering that the communities they play, especially in England, aren't the wealthiest. That doesn't come across as a good image that the sport wants to have. The Playboy sportsman image is not an image rugby league wants to have. This is a sport that is short of cash, has a limited fan base, because for various reasons, growing the game seems to be perverse. Has got a lot of controversy going on with the sport right now anyway, with forcing Catalan, Toulouse and Toronto to pay money to enter the Challenge Cup, and they're refusing. So there's already an image issue with rugby league in the UK. The NRL is losing the battle to AFL, which is unfortunate, because I do like the NRL. But again, so many players have alcohol and drug-related incidents in the NRL. This is not a new thing. I'm just looking at the last 24 months. But there is a long-standing issue with behavioural issues off the field, with alcohol and drugs. The NRL was not immune from that, and it actually seems... What worries me is the sport seems to welcome back these people with open arms every time, and doesn't bat an eyelid with some of their legal issues off the field. They seem to be welcomed back. There are 1 or 2 cases where players are on their last legs when it comes to discipline off the field, but for the most part they are seemingly welcomed back into the playing fold. There has to be a culture change. There has to be. I'm not saying that it's going to be completely eradicated, not at all. But we have to look at why players are doing it, why there are so many high-profile players getting caught doing it, and what can be done to raise awareness of the risks they are taking with their own health whilst playing under the influence of having it in their system. And also the PR nightmare this must be for both the NRL and the Super League, going, Christ, yet another player has been caught. Well, what press statement can be? The PR departments of the Super League and the NRL must be scratching their heads going, Christ, another player's gone and done something stupid. It gives a bad public image that the sport doesn't want to have. It wants to encourage kids and families to come watch the games, get involved playing the games, volunteering, getting involved. And when you see a high-profile player has done that, it's not a good image to have. It gives out this playboy image that is not the image that rugby league is about. It's a hard grafting sport played in working class communities. That playboy image doesn't really suit the fan base, but there is an issue there, and rugby league worldwide needs to get all the clubs around the table, governing bodies, and thrash out some kind of solution to this problem. But thank you very much for watching. That's my take on it. I think there is an issue there, but we need to look at why and how we can tackle it. And I'll have some more videos for you soon. Please like and subscribe, and place your thoughts below. See you soon.